My name is Elena Iden, and I am here to discuss with you the impact of satellite reflectivity on avian migrations. Each year, billions of migratory birds undergo navigation across the world. According to Demsar et al., they rely on light cues to orient their physiological compasses. They can be altered, however, by the reflection of light by satellite surfaces. In their article in the 2026 stimulus packet, Basoro et al. Describes a predicted LEO density increase over the next 10 years, which requires an assessment of environmental issues. This bar graph by space debris researchers Bronze et al. Shows the number of annual LEO, low Earth orbit, satellite launches from 1960 to 2020. In 2010, the number of launches was under 100, but by 2020, it has increased to over 1,200. That is more than 12 times the number 10 years prior. This supports Basoro et al.'s claim about the increasing density. It indicates that should the trends continue, the number of satellite launches will exceed 10,000 in the next 10 years, and the reflection of light will only serve to increase as well. This leads me to my research question. To what extent must satellite technology be moderated to mitigate its impact on light pollution and navigation? First, we should discuss how birds navigate. As I mentioned before, Demsar et al. Presents vector navigation, in which birds will orient their compasses based off light cues. This is corroborated by the work of Rich and Longcourt with the Irvine Wildlife Group, which cited a 1982 study of white-crowned sparrows, such as the one in this photo, which when placed in orientation cages, oriented towards sky glow rather than seasonally appropriate directions, indicating that light pollution does indeed impact how they navigate. Kosevach et al. Cites a 10% increase in sky glow. This presents an obstacle for their vector navigation, in which will steer them off course and waste energy that may interfere with their completion of migrations. Next, we should discuss current policy. After a mass collision event that killed nearly 1,000 in Chicago, the Migratory Bird Treaty Act was brought into question. Farnsworth et al. Described it as prohibiting intentional but not incidental harm, indicating that environmental concerns such as light pollution are not included in the act. The International Astronomical Union, in terms of brightness limitations, suggests that the magnitude or brightness of satellites be limited to 7 for astronomical research and 6 for aesthetic viewing. But its nature as a recommendation is made apparent by the EU Space Act of 2025, which suggested the implementation of brightness limitations for satellites, but it was later removed that year. Without legislation, something must be done to combat the increase in satellite brightness. And in light of this, I have developed 2 potential solutions. Firstly, light exclusion zone programs. The development of lighting exclusion zone programs involves turning off or dimming nighttime artificial lighting. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services suggests using network lighting or automatic controls during migration-conscious timeframes. There are several implications. Namely, the lower artificial lighting will prevent disorientation by both city and satellite reflected light. Secondly, money will be saved because you are reducing your energy consumption. However, there are 3 main limitations. Turning off the lights all at once will reduce nighttime visibility for citizens, producing several safety concerns. Secondly, such an act is voluntary. It will require greater incentive for enough people to participate. And lastly, satellites are moving. So even if you were to turn off a city's lights, you cannot guarantee that the satellite is there at that exact time. So sky brightness could still be high. And in light of this, I have developed a second solution. Satellite producers should implement dark sky designs, such as low albedo coating, which has been proven to reduce brightness by 55%, and foam visors, which have done enough to reduce magnitude by 1.2 magnitude increments. There are limitations, of course. Namely, both strategies may risk satellite integrity. Laubach et al. Describes coating as increasing heating absorption. In doing so, it can decrease the lifespan of electrical components, such as the antennae. Secondly, much like my first solution, this action is currently voluntary, and limitations are only a recommendation, such as the EU Space Act we discussed earlier. However, there are going to be implications. The reduced brightness, namely, as the 55% we discussed, or reduced light pollution, which will improve migrations, and any potential ecological benefits of their completion. Lastly, satellite function may actually be improved. Hudson and Jones did an analysis of spacecraft, and they found a dark coating increased near-infrared reflection by 7%. This improves debris tracking, meaning this strategy can not only improve birds' migrations, but help astronomical researchers. Overall, changes must be made to bird safety and satellite brightness legislation, or the threat of light reflection will continue to interfere with their navigations and any potential ecological benefits should they be completed. These are the sources I used for my argument. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes, thank you. The first question is, what information did you need that you were not able to identify or locate? And how did you go about trying to find that information?
Yes, so my topic was very broad because I don't think it's very widely discussed, and so I was unable to locate a direct link between satellites and migrations. So instead, I decided to take it from two angles and analyze how those may relate. I focused on light cue reliance, as described by Densart et al., and the disorientation by skyglow, Rich and Longcourt discussed with their orientation cages, and analyzed any potential issues that could arise from that.
Thank you. And the next question, explain the level of certainty you have about your conclusion, solution, or recommendation.
I am very confident in my second solution primarily because I believe it addresses both human interests and migrational integrity. As I discussed, Hudson and Jones' low albedo coatings findings showed it could improve near-infrared reflection and debris tracking, which is not only going to help astronomical researchers, but it could help our migrating birds because there will be less reflection of light. And I think seeing it from a dual perspective allows more people to engage with the topic because it's not just about these animals.
Thank you very much.